Hello and welcome back to Onioncreature Update. I'm Owen Carlson, and today's breaking news is that Pokemon is good again, maybe? The Pokemon Company hosted their Pokémon Presents presentation for the 25th anniversary of the series, and in it they detailed 3 new Switch games that will be released in the future. First of all, we had a look at new Pokemon Snap, which is shaping up to be a spectacular time by the looks of it. Visuals are fantastic, and it has some great features like being able to edit pictures after you've taken them. Good stuff there. I am quite excited for that release. But the exciting news of the day was that Diamond and Pearl are getting a remake. It looks pretty good. I was not blown away by this announcement. I think it is good that we're getting these remakes. They've been heavily requested. The Pokemon Company seems to know that. They referenced the Sinnoh confirmed meme on Twitter in their announcement. So they seem to be aware that people have wanted this for a long time, which is good. It is good that they're aware of what the fans of the series want. It's basically a one-to-one remake of the original Diamond and Pearl. It has the same chibi characters, but now they're 3D models instead of sprites. And the world seems to be still entirely grid-based, and all the locations of objects and houses and trees seems to be just about completely the same. And there's been a mixed reaction to this. I think some people think it looks really good, some people think it looks horrible, and I'm a little in between. I think the concept of it is not bad. I think this can be done right with something like Link's Awakening, which I think looks really great, but the issue is not the concept. I think the issue is the execution. I think it just is not really there. It doesn't have the lighting effects that Link's Awakening had or the depth of field. And so it just ends up looking a little flat and unambitious would be a word to describe it, I'd say. It is interesting that they're reverting to this pure chibi style, because Pokemon Let's Go had sort of an in-between where they were sort of half chibi, half humanoid. But now they're just full chibi in the overworld, and in battle and cutscenes, presumably they're humanoid, which is similar to the original game, so it's appropriate. I'd say my biggest issue at this point is that I'm not sure if there's anything that they're going to be adding to these games to make them exciting, because I look at this and I say, I'm interested in this because I have a nostalgic connection to Diamond and Pearl. But I also don't know whether it will provide that much value over just replaying those original games, which some might argue look better. I think it's arguable that the sprite work in the originals does look better, and I think you can make that argument pretty well. So I'm interested to see and hoping that there will be some sort of new feature or multiple new features that justify this being a $60 Nintendo Switch game, which it definitely will be. So I am glad that we're getting our Diamond and Pearl remakes finally. I'm excited for that, and I think they look good. I think that one of the most interesting and perhaps promising things about this reveal is that it is developed by a studio other than Game Freak. It is developed by the studio Ilka, who hasn't done a lot before. From what I understand, they've mostly just assisted with other development projects, but they are heading development for this remake alongside assistance from Game Freak employees like Junichi Masuda, who also directed the original games. That's quite the development, because one thing that many Pokemon fans, myself included, have been saying is that we need more than one developer to work on a series as big as Pokemon if they're going to release them every single year. And since they really need to get more than just Game Freak, because it's pretty clear that Game Freak cannot handle that workload based on what happened with Sword and Shield. That game had a lot of shortcomings, and a lot of controversy arose because of those shortcomings, which presumably would have been solved if Game Freak had had a longer development cycle, or if they had had development assistance from another studio. That's why I'm quite excited about this specific detail, because it implies that we might get more non-Game Freak developed main series Pokemon games in the future, presumably just remakes, but perhaps other main series games. The point is, this opens up a lot of possibilities, and it means that Game Freak has more time to make the games that they work on better in every way. I can guarantee that if Pokemon Let's Go had been developed by another studio other than Game Freak, Sword and Shield would have turned out far better because they just would have had more development time and resources to devote to that game, which they clearly did not have enough of. There's the infamous tree, there's the pop-in, the frame rate issues, the National Dex controversy. There's a whole laundry list of problems, many of which presumably could have been easily sorted out if they had had more time. So, this is good, and dare I say, an indication that the Pokemon Company is listening to its audience. Maybe. Might be a reach there, but could be. But that's just one side of the story, because there was a whole nother Pokemon game announced alongside the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes. That being Pokemon Legends Arceus. And when I first saw this, I thought, oh, they're actually doing Pokemon Breath of the Wild, which is an observation many have made. They seem to have made some deliberate choices in the trailer to sort of indicate that it is basically that. They have this shot, which is basically one-to-one with Breath of the Wild, which is pretty hilarious. The art direction looks similar. I think this project is incredibly interesting and potentially very exciting. First of all, it's a prequel. It's set in a era we haven't seen before in Pokemon. It's sort of a feudal Japan era, which is, I think, pretty great. This is something I've mused about and wanted for quite a while. That's an idea I think that has a ton of potential, and that alone makes me very, very interested to see where this game goes. But then, there's the fact that it's an open-world Pokemon game. That's what it looks like. You go around, and you can throw Pokeballs at Pokemon and just catch them in a field, a giant field. They have a roll attack. They have... I think the combat might have some real-time elements. A little unsure about that. I've read something somewhere that seemed to indicate that. That would be kind of crazy. But I think what makes this so great for me is that it looks like Game Freak is actually trying properly to do something new, which I feel is something they haven't done recently. Specifically with Sword and Shield, I felt that while they did add innovations to the main series of games with Sword and Shield, like the Wild Area and Gigantamax, I don't feel that either of those were fully thought out enough to really be properly enjoyable, which is why I didn't end up getting the game, just because none of the things that it was offering seemed that valuable to me personally, and it seemed like a half effort. Like, they had ideas that they really wanted to implement, like the Wild Area, but they just didn't have the time, budget, or resources to properly realize that idea. And obviously the game hasn't come out, and it does look a little rough, but it does look like they are actually trying here, like properly trying, and that, I like that. That's what I want to see. Pokemon makes so much money, so they really have no excuse not to try their hardest to make the best game possible. It is exciting to me that even though they can get away with the bare minimum, they are actually trying to do something that will make a larger portion of their fans happy than were happy with the previous games. That's what it feels like to me. Could be wrong, but that's my interpretation of this situation. And like I said, the game does look pretty rough. The frame rate was kind of bad. The visuals were very, very unpolished. I do still think it looks better than Sword and Shield, just based on what I saw. Obviously, it's still really rough, but I think Sword and Shield, the Wild Area in that game, the footage I've seen just looks really not good. And this doesn't look amazing either, but it does look a bit more ambitious, and there's a bit more going on, and it's a little more excusable since this is presumably a larger world than was in Sword and Shield. The story aspect is really appealing to me since it's exploring something we haven't seen before with an era of Pokemon yet unseen. Hopefully we get a lot of cool new lore. I love that Arceus is the main Pokemon. I think he's one of, if not the coolest legendary they've ever made. And so seeing Arceus get a full game devoted to it is awesome. I am very much in favor of that. So there's so many lore possibilities. The gameplay possibilities are really exciting. Even if they don't pull it off very well, I am happy that they are trying to do something totally new. And I feel like this is definitely going to be a testing ground for the next generation of Pokemon, Generation 9. Yeah, basically, I'm just glad that there's Pokemon games that I feel comfortable being excited about. The Diamond and Pearl remake, yeah, it's kind of unambitious, and the visuals are not as good as they probably should be, but it's still a remake of Diamond and Pearl on the Switch, which is something I very much want. So it works for me. And then we have Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is just a little bit crazy. It's not something I really expected at this point. I just have such low expectations of the Pokemon Company that I never really thought that they would actually commit to something this radical. Whether they pull it off or not is definitely still undetermined, and we probably won't know that for a while because it's not coming out for a year. The final Pokemon Sword and Shield didn't look that much better than the trailers did. So it's a little shaky. They don't have the greatest track record, but I'm glad they're trying. And the fact that they are trying and they're trying something new and interesting that they haven't done before gives me hope for the project. And if nothing else, I am excited to see if it turns out good, because if it does, if they manage to pull this off, this could be pretty incredible. And even if they don't, I still do commend them for doing something new that isn't lazy. That's cool. That's really good. I think that's all I have for this topic at the moment. I'll be waiting for more trailers and information in the future, and hopefully I am pleased. You know, it feels nice to be excited about a main series Pokemon game again. I haven't felt that in a while. This has been Onioncreature Update. Thank you for watching.